As part of the Clearside Career Online Learning Series, the Notre Dame Association welcomes you to today's webinar titled Boost Your LinkedIn Know-How. This is a webinar for individuals who are interested in learning very practical tips on using various features in LinkedIn more effectively. So we're going to share some information on strengthening your profile and also increasing proficiency in online networking in LinkedIn. We focused on distilling information into tips for you, and we'll navigate through LinkedIn so you can see and understand how to access the information that's available there. My name is Sharon Kane. I serve as the Director of Professional and Academic Programs here at the Alumni Association. I've been working in this role for 2 years, and I worked in the Mendoza College of Business and Executive Education, focused on that work for 11 years. So as we get started, you may submit your questions at any time during the webinar. You just use the Q&A panel and the prompts that you see on your screen. If we're unable to address your question as part of the webinar, we will respond offline. And to facilitate this, just a reminder to please be sure to include your email address. And another reminder that we're recording the webinar. It'll be posted on the my.nd.edu website under Connect in the Career and Professional Services area on the Multimedia Resources section. So let's get started with today's topics. So first we're going to take a look at LinkedIn by the numbers. Why is it the #1 professional networking site? We want to understand its reach and its impact that it's having, not only on the way we network, but the way individuals are recruited for jobs and the way individuals are going about their job search. We're going to share 13 tips to strengthen your profile. A strong profile is essential to your professional presence online. So these tips we hope will come in handy. And then we're going to focus on strategic networking features that are in LinkedIn. Many exist, and we're going to highlight several here today, and then also with Q&A. So LinkedIn, it is the #1 professional networking site. It launched over 10 years ago and went public about 4 years ago. Posted over $2 billion in revenue. So 347 million individuals use LinkedIn, and 70% of them are outside of the United States. They're in 200 countries and territories. Users are male and female, and there are 3 million active job listings on LinkedIn. Many individuals turn to this site for job postings. My understanding is there's also over 3 million company profiles on LinkedIn, so a lot of information there. And this is quite a statistic. 94% of recruiters are using LinkedIn to identify, source, and otherwise vet candidates. So you want to be on LinkedIn. You want to have a strong profile. You want to need to know how to use the networking tools. So we're going to begin by focusing on your profile and teeing up 13 tips. So the first tip is that first impressions matter. And so you want to include a professional headshot, something that's very appropriate and, as I say, professional. Why? You're 11 times more likely to have your profile viewed if you include a photo. It's an easy thing to do, and again, you want to make sure you include it for visibility. Second tip, be easy to find. This is very straightforward. You want to use your name. Again, with 94% of recruiters and it could be colleagues, classmates, other people who want to network, you want to use your name and avoid combining it with any credentials or title or acronyms. There are other places in your LinkedIn profile for that information, which is important. But again, to be easy to find and searchable, you want to use your name only. You want to be sensitive and smart about incorporating keywords to create attention-getting text in order to distinguish yourself. So there's what they call a headline, and this is you want to use this, it's very short, to describe yourself and it also encourages others to read on. So this information, we don't want to default to our job title. Most often, this is what people use, but we want to be, pardon me, a little more strategic in that. And we have 120 characters available to us, so we want to make sure that we're using all 120 characters. And I'll be showing you an example of a profile that takes into account many of the tips that we're presenting here. You want to incorporate a customized URL, and you want to do that using your full name. This is a way to further establish your professional identity, and it improves search engine optimization. Again, so as individuals are searching, whether they're colleagues, hiring managers, HR professionals, etc., you want to be able to be searchable. This is also something, your customized URL, to include on your resume. There's a summary section, and there are 2,000 characters available in the summary section, and this is a way for you to distinguish yourself and also to convey your value. And as you're writing this, you want to keep your target audience in mind. So a few tips. You want to spotlight the work that you've done that most excites you and convey that in this summary section. You want to think in terms of format about a bio rather than a resume in this section. And to help with readability, incorporating bulleted text really works. So in that summary section, distinguish yourself, generate your value, spotlight what you've done overall. Your profile will then move into an experience section. And this is where you can actually share and demonstrate your work experience. And our recommendation is that you have at least the last 3 jobs as part of that experience section. To continue, number 7, you want to enrich your profile through multimedia. So LinkedIn now provides the capability for us to upload images, photographs, videos, presentations as part of our profile. And this obviously makes it more dynamic, more interesting, and can distinguish yourself in a competitive marketplace. So all in all, this can help you have a more robust profile with these kind of components. There's also a volunteer experience section. And this is something that where we can actually incorporate what we focus on outside of our work experience, what we care about, what we're involved in. And very interestingly, 42% of the hiring managers who were surveyed view the volunteer experience on the same level as formal work experience. That may be a bit of a surprise, but here's an opportunity to round our experience out and convey that to the marketplace. As part of your profile, there's a skills section. And it provides us the opportunity to list up to 50 skills. So you want to be sure that you do so. More skills are better, but a cautionary tale to be strategic by using the same keywords in the skills section as you have in other parts of your profile. So if you're involved in accounting as an example, there could be accounting skills listed or financial skills listed. In addition, in your summary, and in your experience through your actual works, that should reinforce all of that and be consistent with the type of skills that you have honed. So we can list skills on our section, and we can endorse other individual skills, and that can be a great way to reconnect and expand your network by connecting with someone and endorsing the skills that they have. Of course, you want to do this when you know that they actually have the skills. Number 10, there's been debate about the voice to use, and many really advocate that you use the first person. That this affords us a more authentic communication and a way to reach our target audience. So using I. as opposed to our names. I want to recognize that hard skills are more searchable than soft skills. So I'm drawing on financial analysis or accounting. Those type of skills, those kind of words are more searchable. And there's some overused buzzwords that you're going to find in the marketplace. I've listed a couple: creative, motivated, effective, responsible. Those are those softer skills, and certainly it's important to have those, but we don't want to really clutter up with those soft skills. So there's also the opportunity to do recommendations. And when you write a recommendation for someone, you want to avoid using LinkedIn's boilerplate language. You want to rather be very thoughtful, specific, and personal about your recommendation for the person. That's the strongest approach. And when you ask others to write recommendations for you, the best recommendations come from those who really, truly know your work and know your value and can speak to that. So recommendations are an area where you can write them for individuals, and in turn, they can write them for you. So that reciprocity rule applies. Our 12th tip is to be strategic with your settings. These are often invisible to us. We're going to show you this. But a tip, when you're updating, editing your profile, you want to turn off your activity broadcast while you're making those changes so that it doesn't communicate out to those in your network that you're updating and editing your profile. You might really have a lot of things that you're enhancing. You will handle those and then turn it back on. So our last tip, LinkedIn has a help center online, and this they have a library, as you would expect probably, of standard topics, but you can also type in and make specific requests or issues. So we'll show you the help center, but here's something just as an example. They have a category, finding and landing the perfect job. How can LinkedIn help me find and land the right job? It was just updated within the last week or so, and you can see that it's very specific. There are links. It's something worth knowing about and could give you ideas as well as technical or other helpful support. So what I'd like to do now with these 13 tips in mind is to go ahead and kind of talk you through some examples. So I'm going to share. I have a LinkedIn profile from Bill Mohammed. You can see that he's using just his name, that he is giving us his location as well as his industry. As part of his headline, he has avoided titles per se, opting for more strategic, perhaps more searchable words. He has implemented a customized personal URL into his profile. As we move down through the summary, he's using the first person to describe himself. He's incorporating bulleted text. He's really sticking to hard skills as opposed to soft skills. It's giving us a feel and a flavor for Bill and his experience. And as we move into that section, he is listing more than the 3 work experiences in here. It's specific. He is also then incorporating recommendations that others have written for him. So it's not only Bill speaking about Bill, but others as well. As we drop down into the skills section here, you can see that he has listed skills. Others have endorsed his skills, so he has that going. Coming to his education, this is where it's just the facts, where you went, the degrees you earned, the years you attended. No modification really there, one of the more straightforward sections. He has recommendations from others. We saw a couple above in his profile, but here they are. And we're going to talk a little later about groups, but he has groups and companies and organizations that he is following. So all of this makes this a strong profile that incorporates many of the tips that we talked about here. So now I'm going to come over in the upper right-hand corner, and if I hover over the photo, a drop-down menu presents itself. And there are two areas in particular I want to point out here. One, the privacy and the settings, and two, the help center, which I showed a little bit earlier. So privacy and settings, these things are behind the scenes. So now we are in the privacy and the settings, and I want to draw your attention here to the left column where we have 4 different areas. We're currently in the profile, and we have privacy controls. So we can turn off our activity broadcast. I highlighted that to you earlier. This is where you, when you're editing, you want to uncheck, let people know when you're changing your profile. You check that once your edits and updates are complete. That way you won't be pinging people. You can select who can see your activity feed and scope that. You can determine what others see when you viewed their profile. The name and headline is the most common combination, as you'll see here with my example. But you can be more anonymous than that. You can be totally anonymous. So that's something for you to consider and work through. So I encourage you to spend time in this section of privacy and settings. There are emails and notifications that come and that are pushed out. You can determine the frequency of those and who receives those. When we get into groups and companies and other applications, you can customize the order that your groups display in even, which is fantastic. So, and then finally in your account, if you want to change out your profile photo, if you want to hide your profile photo from other members, etc., if you want to select a different language. So there's quite a bit here. So I just want to encourage you and make you aware of this privacy and settings section, because it is behind the scenes, and if you are making changes or looking to make changes, you want to be able to know who's seeing what. I also want to call your attention to the Help Center. I showed you an example, but here it is live. This is where it's located in LinkedIn. You can see the search box. If you have something in particular and specific, you can ask or get an answer there. If you, for example, wanted to know more about communicating with the LinkedIn members, you simply click through. There's text, there are links, and it gives you an opportunity to tell them how helpful they've been. There are topics that you can browse here on the right-hand side. So there's quite a bit there. So those are the tips, and I want to make sure the privacy and settings as well as the Help Center are known to you, so that as you strengthen your profile, you have these things at your fingertips. So with that in mind, as an opportunity to strengthen our profile, we're going to turn now to strategic networking features that exist within LinkedIn. Again, I'll share these ideas, and then I will follow up by showing you where they are in LinkedIn. So a way to increase the value of your network is by extending requests and accepting connections from people. And what you want to bear in mind is that those connections should be mutually beneficial. That's how you grow a quality network that's really going to support you and be of benefit. So the business card rule of thumb applies here. If you would exchange business cards with that individual, then you want to connect with that person. Some people place an emphasis on the quantity over the quality, and I'm asking and recommending that you really make sure that there's mutual benefit to the connection. We touched on this about the reciprocity principle when you're endorsing skills for those in your network, so that they're inclined to endorse you as well. You want to be giving with the recommendations that you make, And know that you can only make recommendations for your first degree connections. Those do not apply to the second or third degree connections. So that reciprocity, as you're making recommendations, endorsing people for skills, you're going to ask and reach out for people to do that for you. So you want to be sensitive to that. I recommend highly that you join professional groups and that you add those to your LinkedIn profile. There are a couple ways this benefits. One, it demonstrates your professional expertise and your interests. In that group section on your profile, you're communicating out all the time exactly where your areas of professional expertise lie and the interests that you have. So as people are viewing your profile to network with you, to consider you as a candidate, this is a great way to convey that kind of important information. It's also a way of enhancing your understanding. If you're moving through a learning curve, perhaps you're up for a promotion, you're going into an interview, you're making a career transition, you're leaving one industry to enter a new one. By signing on to these groups, following these groups, learning from them, you can really understand a new vocabulary, the terminology, any jargon, as well as trends and issues that are there. Of course, I'm going to, if you don't already participate in the Notre Dame Alumni Association's LinkedIn group with 30,000 members and counting, I would encourage you to do that. There are discussions going on there that are of interest. People are asking for certain areas of expertise. There are jobs that are available there to search and to post. And I know individuals have found executives and other individuals by using that job section of the Notre Dame Alumni Association LinkedIn page. There are also very straightforward ways that you can engage in this community and extend your professional presence in discussions. You can use the like, you can make comments, and you can share information, your professional online presence through that community. And also you can and this is a way to connect with 71,000 have listed the University of Notre Dame in their. So I'll show you these type of features also. So I'm going to start with groups. So under interests are groups. And here you can use the search box to type in various groups. I'm selecting the American Marketing Association just to give you a feel and a flavor of what comes into that group. Here's their page. They have discussions, promotions, members, and ability to search. You can join. This is telling us there are over 28,000 members. As we scroll down, you can get a feel and a flavor of what they're looking for, speakers, that type of thing. Be able to, as a member, start a discussion, make a request. Here is where the like and comments come into place, and also you can share and start a discussion. So these kind of groups are just terrific. Some are open, some are closed. If we go to the Young Presidents Organization, the YPO, they have their membership here, and we can see a lock here that's saying that that is a member and closed group with 44 members strong. So that's something to bear in mind. The groups, you can also, the Notre Dame Alumni Network. This is the group that has over 39,000 members here. And there's a variety of information. Of course, it has the discussions, promotions. Here's the jobs feature. This is a group for Notre Dame alumni and students. So here are a variety of jobs that we could click through to and learn more about the company, about the position, et cetera. It's fantastic. So I encourage you to try that as well. And then importantly, I want to show you under connections, I mentioned to you the Find Alumni. This is a fantastic way to build your network. And what it's doing now, this is drawing from my graduate degree, which is from another institution. So I simply come over here to change it to Notre Dame, to tap that network, and watch what happens to the results number. So this is telling us that there are 71,000 individuals in LinkedIn with profiles who have listed the University of Notre Dame. And at our fingertips, we can scope queries about geography using where they live, organizations of where they work, what it is that they do professionally. We can continue on with what they studied, their skills that they've developed, and how you might be connected. So just as an example, I'm going to craft a query saying I'm interested in the Chicago area. You can see what happened to the number there real time. I'm interested in consulting. That took the number down even further. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say strategy. And so with that, you can see that real-time information is changing, and the results are 74 individuals meet the criteria of Greater Chicago, consulting, and strategy. Those 74 people or profiles are listed below the query. So we would be able to then click on any one of those 74 individuals, learn a little bit more through a thumbnail sketch, and we could view their profile more in depth or send a message to them. So this is really quick, really easy way to go. If you wanted to craft a different query, it's very easy. You simply unselect, deselect those items. Say we were interested in the San Francisco Bay Area, and perhaps we were interested in particular in information technology, and perhaps we had Google in our line of sight. And so we would take large numbers down to this, excuse me, it didn't register information technology. And we'll go with Google here. So you can appreciate how we are able to query and really take these numbers down. This doesn't seem to be functioning properly, but these 6 columns will help you identify Notre Dame alumni who then you can conduct informational interviews with, reach out for actual interviews, study up on their companies, and it's really all here for you. I recognize there's a fair amount, and so you want to be able to zero in on things. So I'm just going to say, here's just to show you a little bit about companies and individuals. So I hope that this information has been helpful to you and that you're able to then craft a really terrific profile that distinguishes you in the marketplace, enables you to reach out and connect with others, and that the strategic networking features that we've covered are also beneficial to you. Peter has a question about, is there any benefit to upgrading to premium? I don't recommend that individuals begin with premium, that the basic free LinkedIn account for most individuals is just plenty terrific and works well. So I appreciate the question. Kelly's asking if we can send out some additional examples of good LinkedIn profiles. We can work on that. As soon as we do that, Kelly, no one is the be-all, end-all, but we can give you some examples. Thank you for that question. Someone's asking about the advanced search feature, and I will just quickly touch on that. Right here, aside the search box, is the word advanced. And this is another robust area where you can use the information. You can type in keywords. You could type in names of people. You could combine your query. Perhaps you're interested in McKinsey and consulting, just to use that as an example. And then it shows individuals who meet that criteria. We are slightly over. I just want to thank everyone. Can you, Thomas has said, can you comment on the benefits of premium over standard? Thomas, those are articulated in the Help Center, so you will be able to read for yourself what the basic LinkedIn account provides, what premium provides. So I would recommend that you do that. Thank you for your question. David, if someone views your profile, do you feel it's enough of an introduction to email them back? I think what you want to do there, David, is really look at that individual's profile and to determine if there is a mutual benefit to your being connected. It's wonderful that people reach out to you, and I understand that, but I recommend that you view their profile. You look to see is there common ground potential. Are they working in an area you want to work in or that you're working in, and evaluate it on an individual basis. We have a couple of questions quickly about returning to work after being out of the workforce, so if there is a work gap and how can you treat that on LinkedIn. There are different ways to organize your profile, Val. For example, in the summary section and in the experience section, you can utilize project work. That could be a component to demonstrate and communicate the skills that you have. So that's a consideration. And again, we know that the volunteer experience, if anyone who's been involved in that, is viewed commensurate with work experience. So don't neglect adding your volunteer experience. We have a few more questions, but we're going to honor our time commitment and say thank you very much for joining us today. I hope that this information will strengthen everyone's profile and make you feel more equipped to navigate LinkedIn as you strategically network. Our next webinar for Clear-Sighted will be May 20th. It will be a refresher on effective and distinctive resumes, and we hope you will join us then. Thank you so much for your participation today.